Electrifying Mojo, Power 96, with Stevie Wonder. One of the most beautiful projects that I've ever heard was your Secret Life of Plants.
Really?
I thought it was a great album, and I think it still is a great album. When you were making The Secret Life of Plants, what were your motivating reasons for pursuing a project like that?
Well, the actual book was an interesting book. The film was a documentary film, but I felt that the whole concept of dealing with the physical, mental, and emotional relations between man and plants was a challenge within itself, and I wanted to try to write some music for it. So I wrote a theme song that I thought might work for the film. I told the director, producer of the film, Mr. Michael Brown, that if they liked it, we would go ahead. If they didn't like it, we just leave it be. So that was a position that I took on the film and on the story and the whole bit, because I didn't want them to commit to something that they didn't really feel good about, and I thought that I would use it for something else if they didn't like it.
Well, I simply loved it, and I still do. As a matter of fact, from time to time, I've used the instrumental version of it as an intro song, because it sounds like the creation, like the part you did about the fly buzzing around.
Oh, the Venus flytrap.
The Venus flytrap.
Yeah. It was fun doing that. I mean, the point is, it was challenging because we had to come up with a method of operation for me to make sure that every visual cue would be right in time musically. So there was a system that myself, my engineer, and the director, Michael Brown, and Gary Lusbaugh, my engineer, and myself, we worked out that seemed to work okay. I think that there should have probably been a libretto with the album, because many people didn't understand it. The fact that there was not a real good marriage of cooperation between Motown and Paramount didn't do a great assistance in people understanding too what The Secret Life of Plants was all about. Many people bought the album thinking it was going to be a Songs of the Key of Life. So yes, they were disappointed. I would have been too. If I had that expectation of it being like The Secret, like Songs of the Key of Life. It was not like that. It was never meant to be like that. Mm-hmm. And I think if people were not able to see the film, and if they did not have a libretto, they would have to use their imagination. And if their imagination just was not into talking about plant life, music about Venus flytrap and Voyage to India and Chinese bows and George Washington Carver and the Dogon song Kissaye, Lala Diye, Lala Ye, Kissaye. I would have thought, probably like a lot of people, it's a lot of shrubbish.
Stevie, let's go back to the days of the Motown Review, when you came on stage as somewhat of a surprise act, and you performed, you brought the house down, and within midweek, you were the new headliner of the show.
You gotta put a sound effect in when you hear. He brought the house down.
Little Stevie Wonder.
But it was. What were you gonna say? Because I interrupted.
What was the moment you went on stage and you felt the electricity in the crowd?
Detroit, you mean?
Yeah,
Detroit?
during the Motown Review. When you just tore the roof off the house, you just had everybody screaming in the aisles. The night that a star was born. Well, the start already been born, but the public finally found out that the world of music would be changed forever by little Stevie Wonder.
Well, I'd never. Well, hey, that's a big job, though, changing the world for music forever. I don't know. I think the first time I performed live was at the Latin Quarters in Detroit, and my girlfriend was in the audience. My little girlfriend. Well, she wasn't my girlfriend yet. I was talking to her. Hey, what's happening?
What was her name?
Her name was Lois. It was Martha Reeves' sister, Dolores Reeves. And so I was so excited that she'd come with Martha, and I was playing the drums, and I was trying to be cool, and I dropped a drumstick. Embarrassing. But when I went later on, like a few years later, going in my teens, and after Fingertips, a lot of my friends were in the audience, and I was home in Detroit, so I was excited, of course. And we would always say, we're going to get them, we're going to tear it up, But I was just excited. I was home, and usually the time reviews would start on Christmas Day, so that was the excitement of Christmas and performing with all the other Motown acts.
When you went out there and you did Fingertips, I mean, it electrified the whole world. Yet, it was quite some time before you were able to take the creative reins of your career, and guide your own destiny. During the times when you were not able to fully participate creatively as far as putting the lyrics together, and up to the point where they said, okay, Stevie, you can write your own material. What was it like? Was it like being in a cage, being in jail, locked up, wanting to say something and not able to get it out?
Well, looking back, I was in school at the time, so a lot of the time that I spent off the road was spent in Lansing, Michigan, at the School for the Blind in Lansing. And then the time was spent in Detroit, and still some in school, studying with my private teacher then, Ted Hall. And in between that time was with my family or writing songs. I used to carry this big bag of tapes around with lots of songs in it. And even though I wanted to have my songs out, I was really more into just doing as best I could to perfect as best improve my writing ability. Objectively, I guess, looking back, I can understand where I guess Stevie Wonder, a little Stevie Wonder, had a certain image and a certain appeal as to how people perceived him as being. After a while, it was all boring to me because I heard certain kinds of songs on radio, and I thought I could write songs like that. I wrote songs like that, like that, like that, and I wanted them out. But I just said, well, it's not time. And probably understanding how a song that might be a certain kind of way at one point in time, maybe 5 years after, would not be as significant in that kind of way at another point in time. So it helped me to understand maybe changing music or changing songs and the different eras of music and rhythms and all that other kind of stuff.
Let's go back to that time. Let's say before you were able to participate fully creatively, and afterwards. Do you recall any songs that you may have written during that time period that you later released when you were able to fully participate?
Well, I wrote the beginnings of Summer Soft back then. I wrote the beginnings of Never in Your Sun back then. I wrote the beginnings of Signed, Sealed, Delivered back then. Now when I say back then, I'm saying like, I think Signed, Sealed, Delivered was released in '69. My Syreeta More was released in '69. Summer Soft was on Songs in the Key of Life, was released in '76. Never in Your Sun, released '85 this year. And I wrote them, the beginnings of these things, some 65, 66, 67.
This is Electrifying Mojo, Power 96 WHYT with Stevie Wonder. Stevie, moving on to another. Well, first, before we leave this time period, let's talk about, we touched on it briefly, Songs in the Key of Life, song that you wrote for your daughter, Isn't She Lovely? Back then, she was, just a little baby, we heard her crying. Now that she's old enough to understand, the impact of what you did back then, letting the world know about your daughter, has she reacted to it at all?
The song itself?
Right.
I think that she's appreciative of the song, but all of my children, Aisha, Keita, and Montez, only look at me as daddy. It's really funny. Aisha just read this poem, this story recently. She's just talking. I just read it a few days ago. She read it to me, actually. She typed it on her new typewriter, and it was saying something like, Daddy is Stevie Wonder, but he's Stevie Wonder on stage, but he's daddy to us. So, that Stevie Wonder thing, hey, she's appreciative, but I think that there's the joy of just the relationship as daddy, and that's how all my children feel. And that's a good feeling because they can I guess appreciate the Stevie Wonder thing, but there's a responsibility that Daddy has, which is far more significant to them than Stevie Wonder, which is okay.
How long does it take Stevie Wonder to write a song?
It depends. I was explaining this to someone recently with these depositions and stuff. I was saying that, a song, the difference, I guess, in a songwriter and a person who just thinks of an idea. You always think of something. You can think, okay, it's time for me to do my show. You can think that. So maybe if you have a certain kind of feeling, you can say, it's time for me to do my show, So the melody kind of comes with just the thought. Do you see? It's just a process that happens. And from that, then if you like that, it's time for me to do my show. Gotta go, whatever. You just think, it's not like you really think about it so much as it's a process, for me anyway. Now, I guess it works differently for different people.
Okay.
It works differently for me than different people.
Okay, I'm gonna distract you on the air. I talk every night, so if you challenge me to do it, I'll have to do it. So I'm gonna ask you to do something. I'm gonna ask you to sing a little song about Mojo, and then if you want me to, I'll do a little rap about Stevie Wonder.
Okay, well here's what, it's not going to happen today, Mojo, because my voice is just really messed up. He picks a time when he's going to beat me, right? He says, when my voice is shot, I'll be Mojo, and you be Stevie. This is Electrifying Stevie, sitting in for Mojo in Motown, playing you some of the best music in life.
All is fair in love.
Get down. We love that sound. We're impressed with you, Mojo. You see, ladies and gentlemen, Mojo has decided to take the reins of Stevie Wonder and go to an even higher level. But I'm going to be here as Stevie sitting in for Mojo, rocking the house.
On Power 96
on
WHYT.
Power 96 WHYT. Can you get to that? And we're not just talking about the roaches and rats.
Stevie, by the way, Power 96 is on West Grand Boulevard. And many nights when I'm on West Grand Boulevard, I think just a few blocks down the way, there's the old Motown studio. And some nights when before I go to work,
You say, Stevie!
I said, Stevie, what were you thinking about when you were down there working down at Hitsville, USA?
Well, probably trying to get a candy bar, and years after, probably thinking of just how everything was going to come together when we worked on Uptight or worked on I Was Made to Love Her. There are various things we thought about. I'll tell you one thing I do think about lots of times when I hear like the Christmas album that we did, because we did that Christmas album and it was really the hot part of the summer. Starting, I think we did the first song in like 67, something 67 and 68, and I think we did Sunday at Christmas maybe in 66. But the point is, it was hot outside, so you have to imagine talking about, Christmas time and jingle belling and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. We did some in 68 too. But, the point is, usually we did it in the summertime, and it's just amazing to think back on how that all happened and what was going on at the time.
If it could be arranged where another Motown review could be staged at the Fox Theater, would you be game?
Well, I would be game, but I think that I look forward to the new Motown review. I mean, the new Motown, the new people. I have no problem with seeing the new talents. To me, technology has taken music to another level, and I think that's great. There's nothing wrong with that.
Looking back over your illustrious career, what has been the high point for Stevie Wonder? To think about, like all of the times that you've experienced since you've been entertaining, what was the ultimate moment?
Well, I hope I haven't experienced the ultimate moment yet, but there have been many very beautiful moments. Maybe the opportunity to just sit here with you and just say thank you to all the people that have made it possible. That's an ultimate moment. That's a special moment. Because many times in life you can go through life and you can leave a place in space because you are being the griot who carries or passes the history of a family and culture onward and onward. There's a great satisfaction that I feel in being able to come back and say, to everyone, thank you. Or better yet, please allow me to thank you for the opportunities of receiving various awards or receiving your support as you listen to my music, because it's very personal to me. And when I see something very personal to me, all of a sudden, like magic, be in other homes and played on other tape recorders outside of my own little private tape recorder when I first write a song or whatever. It's a very special thing that you allow me to come into your home to touch your heart.
You work with Eddie Murphy on his album, and also you've also experienced some of Eddie Murphy's comedy. Let's talk about Eddie Murphy.
He's a very nice young man. He's kind and smiling. He's a very nice person. As a friend, and I think a very unique person in that, again, he is continuing some of the things that people like Richard Pryor, like Steve Martin, like Bill Cosby, like many have done, really tearing down some of the stereotypes and laughing about some of the ridiculous things that we do as human beings. So he's one of the young people doing that.
I spoke with Eddie Murphy a few months ago. He told me while he was working in the studio that you were kind of rough on him.
That's right. I don't care that he's Eddie Murphy. I'm not impressed. I mean, I'm his friend. So what do you say? I worked him too hard or something?
He said you worked him. He said like, yeah, you were a slave driver. He said he went in the studio. Listen, he thought he could joke out of it.
Yeah, Eddie thought it was like a movie time. You know, like you come in. Okay, you want me to do this part? Okay, I like this part out right quick. Not in the studio, buddy. I mean, you have to do it till it gets right. And well, I mean, he's reaping the benefits, isn't he, from that, huh?
Yeah, he definitely is.
But I mean, he's a very nice person, and I think that it's great to see someone who basically maybe takes his ability to sing as just a side thing to do. But when you say, okay, I want to sing, I mean, that's a big thing to say, I want to sing on record. And wow, you know, because there are many people out there that can sing. And if you're going to be out there with people that can sing, your notion to sing and you're taking it serious has to then become as serious as you working on the comedy that you will do, performing the various parts you will do in that. And I think he understands that from this album and from the experience of the studio. Party all the time.
Stevie, you've worked with the best of this generation. What was it like working with Marvin Gaye?
Marvin Gaye. It was great working with Marvin. Marvin's a great musician, a great philosopher, and I think the book doesn't do justice to really where Marvin, how he feels, really. I have to always feel that those are words of someone else who did not live in the spirit of Marvin. But I know he was writing a book himself, and hopefully someday that book will come forth and bring out the real essence of Marvin. I think that I'm not impressed with people who decide to write a book about someone after they have deceased, that is going to leave their children or their family or their loved ones or fans with a kind of negative image. I don't appreciate that. I'm not impressed with it. And too many times in black culture that happens. So that's what I feel about that.
Well, let's talk. All right.
And forevermore.
And forevermore. Let's talk about Paul McCartney, Ebony and Ivory.
Well, me being white and him being black, I think. No, it's a great experience, and I felt honored being one of those in a kind of way. I've always felt that he and I write similar things. We write very melodic melodies, and I think he's a very talented man, a nice person. It was fun doing the song. I thought that even though it was exciting to do a song with Paul McCartney, the song that we did together, to me, was the most significant thing, because it really was coming from both of our mouths about harmony and ebony and ivory and black and white and piano keys and people living in harmony just like on the piano. Why can't we do that? And it was a very good song. I didn't write that song, by the way, so I can really say it was a very good song. Well, people saying, he's got a big head. He's saying the song is good.
You've had some of the greats sing backup for you. You have the Jackson 5 sing backup for you. I think you have the Temptations singing backup for you. Talk about a few of your people who've done doo-wop for Stevie Wonder.
Well, Syreeta did some doo-wop singing for me. Well, this is horrible. I can't think of his name. He'll be really upset. I can't think of his name right now. It's a Middlebrock. Paul Anka did background for me. Keith John, who's sitting over here to the right of you. You know Keith John from it's Little Willie John's son. He and his brother are with my label, Keith and Kevin John, and we had lots of people really sing background for us. Philip Bailey did background. Luther Vandross did. That's Luther, because a lot of people think it's me. It wasn't me. I could never say. But what? Denise Williams, yes, she sang background with us. We were talking about getting the Lakers to sing background. I was so excited when they won last year. I said, we'll get y'all to sing background. This song will be great. This is no offense to my hometown basketball team, please. But, it was Boston and Lakers. I really want Lakers to win, so really, straight out. I said, you tell them, if they win this game, I want them to sing background. They never heard from Stevie Wonder.
When you look back over your albums, the many albums you've made, what's your favorite album and what's your favorite song?
Favorite is a difficult thing to say because I like my albums for different reasons, different albums for different reasons, because they're different times of my life. So to say the favorite one of all times, again I have to use a Duke Ellington quote, as I used earlier when you asked me about the most incredible time or experience. I hope that I haven't experienced the greatest album yet.
Well, when I look back, I can't think of an album that wasn't great. I would just have to put them all in the category of the greatest of Stevie Wonder because, as we said earlier, in most of your music, it seems to reflect what's uppermost on your mind. And the latest song, well, in fact, I just got a 12-inch. Well, I got two 12-inches from Stevie Wonder within a month's time.
Wow.
Go home and don't drive drunk on your way.
Wow. Well, Don't Drive Drunk, well, you know where that's from. Woman in Red album.
Right.
And Go Home is from In Square Circle. It was fun doing all that stuff. I plan to do a 12-inch of Overjoyed. That'll be one of my first slow ballad 12-inch records. But we've got some very exciting things happening for Overjoyed.
There are a lot of people out
That'll be the next single.
That's my next single.
Overjoyed.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know how people do that.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, this is Stevie Wonder, and this is my latest single. Excuse me, folks.
Stevie.
Get that for some cough medicine.
Yes, Stevie. While people are listening to this interview, there are a lot of young musicians out there. As you know, a few years ago, probably Keith John was somewhere listening to the radio.
What do you do for your throat?
Hearing Stevie Wonder.
What do you do? Hey man, I got this sore throat. I'm Mojo, and I gotta go do this show. And what do I do for my throat? Now, what are you gonna say, Mojo?
Like, there are a lot of people out there listening right now, wanting to know how do they even approach doing some of the things that you've done and forgotten about.
You don't approach me. That's number one. Because I'm too eagled out.
No, when you say approach, what do you mean?
I know there are a lot of people out there that really want to be in the limelight. They want to be big stars. They want to go out there and attempt to do some of the things that you've done and forgotten about. What would you say to a band or a young musician out there that really wants to be out there?
The first thing you do is you do not want to be a big star and be in the limelight. That's the first thing that you do. You do not want that. Now, that might seem contradictory, and I'll explain to you what I mean. Far more important than the wanting to be a big star and be in the limelight is to wanting to do the best that you can do in the profession that you so desire. So if you want to be a very talented musician and do very well at that and do the best you can do, the fact of the art in your ability will shine, therefore opening the doors for the opportunity for you to be that big star in the limelight. I believe if I said, hey man, I'm a star, I want to knock whomever out of the way and I want to be number one, I think that attitude would be very tacky with itself, because it has nothing to do with, well, how good are you? How talented are you? How talented are you? How well have you worked on achieving? How intelligent are you? How much have you studied in school? How well can you read the music that you want to play? How well do you understand the concept of chord structure? How well can you talk about various things when you become a star? How learned are you in a particular subject or subjects? So it's not just about being a star. It's first about being star you, which means yourself in your own heart, doing the best in all the various areas that you have the ability to show out in a positive sense. That's a star.
Stevie, I want to thank you very much for allowing Power 96 WHYT to do this interview. Also, we want to say welcome back home. Right now, we're about to play an hour of Stevie Wonder.
An hour?
An hour of uninterrupted, commercial-free Stevie Wonder.
I'm disappointed.
You want 7 hours? Well, I tell you what we'll do. We can arrange to do that. What we'll do is that for the next 7 days.
No, don't do it.
For the next 7 days.
Don't do it.
For the next 7 days.
Don't do it.
Hey, no, we got to do it.
No.
For the next 7 days.
Please don't let me do it, folks. I don't want to hear it. I can't hear that stuff. Tell you what you do. Do me a favor. Play some Marvin. Play some Jesse Belvin. And play some Beatles stuff. And play some Bob Marley. Just play a variety of different people that have made contributions to the world of music. And if you want to put a small pinch of Stevie Wonder in there, that's okay. But most importantly, play people who have inspired you and me and all of Detroit, like Donny Hathaway. And we can go on and on and on and on. John Lennon, and we go on and on and on, many different people.
This is Electrifying Mojo, Power 96 with Stevie Wonder.